Hello, and welcome to the Sleepy Science Facts. Tonight, we will gently drift through the quiet science of healing, a remarkable system working within you every second of your life. Even now, as you listen, trillions of cells are awake. They exchange signals, repair damage, and maintain your life with a precision that rivals any machine ever created on Earth. Every heartbeat sends a wave of renewal through your body. Every breath fuels a cascade of microscopic repairs that never truly stop. Healing is not only something that happens after an injury. It is a continuous process of balance and recalibration that defines what it means to be alive. If you enjoy these calm explorations, feel free to like the video, subscribe, or share a thought below. It helps others discover this quiet space as well, one sleepy soul at a time. But for now, simply breathe. Let your eyelids grow heavy and allow your mind to soften. Let's begin. Your body rebuilds itself again and again throughout your life. Inside you, renewal never truly stops. Cells live, perform their duties, and quietly step aside, replaced by others that continue the work of being you. Bone cells renew themselves over the course of years. The lining of your stomach refreshes within days. Even the outer surface of your skin is replaced through a slow and silent cascade. Almost everything that forms your physical body today will eventually disappear. And yet the pattern remains. It is almost as if the body remembers the idea of itself and continues sculpting toward that memory again and again. This constant rebuilding is not chaos. It is rhythm. It is the quiet breathing of biology, a cycle that never pauses and never asks for rest. You are a living river made of changing cells, flowing through time while somehow remaining whole. With every heartbeat, your body rewrites its story of survival and begins the silent work of healing once again. Some cells never stop repairing the same tissues. Hidden deep within every organ are tireless workers whose only purpose is repair. These are stem-like cells that remain quietly in the background, waiting for the signal that something has gone wrong. In your skin, they replace the cells lost to friction and sunlight. In your intestines, they rebuild the lining that slowly breaks down with every meal. Inside your muscles, they remain dormant until injury awakens them. Once activated, they multiply and migrate, weaving new tissue into place with remarkable precision. They do this endlessly, moving between rest and response, between stillness and action. Some of these cells have been with you since before you were born, carrying a perfect memory of your body's original blueprint. They remind every system what wholeness feels like. Even when you are unaware of their work, these unseen caretakers are restoring the body you live in, one quiet repair at a time. Your skin understands how to seal itself from the inside out. When the surface of the skin breaks, a small storm begins beneath it. Blood rushes toward the wound, clotting to form a protective seal. Fibroblasts move inward like patient builders, laying down a scaffold of collagen. New skin cells slowly crawl across this hidden bridge from underneath, closing the gap in gentle waves until the surface meets again. This movement does not come from the air above, but from the tissue below. Skin heals from the depths outward, guided by invisible gradients of chemistry and light. Nerves and blood vessels follow behind, restoring warmth and sensation. A scar is the quiet trace of this delicate choreography, a visible reminder of invisible wisdom. Even while you sleep, these same patterns continue in microscopic form, repairing the small tears of everyday life. Skin is not merely a barrier. It is an artist that knows precisely how to paint itself whole again. Bones, too, can sense where they must grow stronger. Your skeleton is far from still. Each bone listens carefully to the pressures that travel through it. When you walk, lift, stretch, or simply stand, tiny sensors called osteocytes detect where stress is greatest. They send messages to cells that dissolve old minerals and others that build new ones. Through this quiet communication, bones reshape themselves to match the life you live. They thicken where weight is carried and hollow where rest is needed. Even after a fracture, the same system begins its work, weaving minerals and collagen together until strength returns. Every healed bone remembers the forces that shaped it and carries that memory into its structure. This is why astronauts lose bone density in weightlessness and regain it when they return to Earth. Your bones are not static pillars. They are living instruments tuned to gravity and motion. They respond to every rhythm, quietly rebuilding their music beneath your skin. The liver is the only human organ capable of regrowing itself. Hidden beneath the ribs lies a remarkable structure that performs one of the closest things to regeneration found in human biology. The liver can lose a significant portion of its tissue and still rebuild itself to full size. When damage occurs, the surviving cells divide rapidly, guided by a cascade of signals that awaken dormant genes. Blood vessels expand to nourish the new growth, and the organ reorganizes itself as if remembering its former shape. This power of renewal is ancient, perhaps inherited from creatures that once could regrow entire limbs. Even when overworked, the liver continues its quiet service, cleansing the blood, balancing hormones, storing energy, and orchestrating chemistry. It almost never rests. Its ability to rebuild carries a message of resilience written deep within the body's design. Within this soft and unassuming organ lives one of nature's clearest demonstrations that healing is an art the body was born to master. Nerves can sometimes find their way back by following chemical trails. When a nerve is injured, the body lays down a path of molecular breadcrumbs. Cells at the damaged end begin releasing delicate chemical signals that guide the regrowth of the nerve fiber. Schwann cells line the old pathway like tiny lanterns, illuminating the route back toward the muscle or skin that once received its message. Growth happens slowly, millimeter by millimeter, as the nerve stretches across the gap in search of reconnection. The brain waits patiently during this process, sometimes for months, until sensation and movement gradually return. The precision of this repair can be astonishing, almost as if the body remembers its own internal map. Not every journey reaches perfect completion, but the attempt never truly stops. Even when the original connection cannot be restored, nearby nerves may take on the role instead. Healing within the nervous system is a quiet story of persistence, a patient search for reunion guided by chemistry, memory, and the simple desire to feel again. Your blood carries tiny messengers that summon the body's repair crews. Each drop of blood is far more than a stream of red cells. It is also a communication network. When tissue becomes damaged, fragments of broken cells release molecular distress signals. Platelets detect these signals and rush toward the site, forming a clot to stop bleeding. But they also send chemical messages into the bloodstream. These signals call in white blood cells, growth factors, and proteins that begin rebuilding the tissue. Some of these messengers travel even farther, reaching distant organs and preparing them for the task of repair. In this way, the bloodstream becomes a conversation, carrying news of what has happened and instructions for what must happen next. This coordination unfolds within moments, faster than conscious thought. While you rest, your circulatory system is doing far more than delivering oxygen. It is directing a vast and invisible choreography of healing. Every pulse carries not only life, but guidance, ensuring that every part of the body knows where care is needed most. Sleep is the time when much of the body's cellular healing actually takes place. When you drift into deep rest, the conscious world fades away, but the biological world becomes intensely active. Growth hormone surges through the bloodstream, instructing cells to divide and repair. Muscles weave torn fibers back together. The immune system reviews the encounters of the day, identifying intruders and storing new memories. Even the brain performs its own form of housekeeping, washing away chemical clutter through waves of cerebrospinal fluid. This nightly restoration is one of nature's oldest rituals. Without it, small injuries linger. Stress accumulates. Clarity fades. Sleep is not a pause in life. It is a hidden workshop that opens only when you allow yourself to let go. Every night, your body performs millions of unseen miracles, repairing DNA, calming inflammation, balancing hormones, and resetting the rhythms of the heart. The deeper the rest, the stronger the repair. As your eyes close, your cells quietly shift from survival into renewal, working through the darkness to prepare you for the next morning's light. Even your DNA carries its own built-in repair toolkit. Every moment of every day, the strands of DNA inside your cells are damaged by sunlight, toxins, and even the simple act of breathing. Yet most of the time, they do not remain broken for long. Enzymes patrol the double helix like careful guardians, scanning for mistakes and stitching the genetic code back together. Some correct single letters in the script of life. Others rebuild entire sections. This molecular craftsmanship happens millions of times each day without you ever noticing. When repair succeeds, the cell continues its life undisturbed. When it fails, other systems awaken to recycle or replace the cell entirely. The body does not treat damaged DNA as tragedy. It treats it as a signal to adapt and restore. This quiet precision is one of the reasons life persists despite constant change. Deep within every cell, evolution has left you a toolkit for resilience, ensuring that even your genetic story knows how to heal itself. Sunlight helps trigger the body's natural rhythms of healing. Morning light is more than warmth or brightness. It is a signal. When it touches your eyes and skin, it resets the body's internal clock, synchronizing hormones that regulate sleep, metabolism, and recovery. Ultraviolet light also helps the skin produce vitamin D, which strengthens bones and supports immune balance. Light reaches the brain as well, influencing serotonin, lifting mood and stabilizing the nervous system. Too little exposure can slow healing. Too much exposure can cause harm. The key, as always, is balance. Human biology evolved in partnership with the rising and setting of the sun, using its rhythm as a compass for when to grow, rest, and repair. Standing in gentle morning sunlight quietly tells your body that life continues, that cycles endure, and that healing is a daily ceremony written in light. Wounds sometimes remember how they healed before. Deep within the layers of the skin, faint memories remain. When an old wound site is injured again, surrounding cells often respond faster than they did the first time. It is almost as if the tissue remembers the choreography of recovery. Immune cells arrive sooner. Stem cells awaken more quickly. Blood vessels begin forming without hesitation. Scientists believe the body stores information about previous injuries, leaving biological traces that prepare the area for future repair. Even scars can carry these memories, influencing how new tissue forms in their place. Healing, in this way, is not merely a reaction. It is an adaptation, a learned rhythm refined through experience. Each time the body repairs itself, it becomes slightly wiser. Within its quiet language, every healed wound becomes a teacher, guiding the next one toward wholeness. Stress can quietly slow the body's repair processes. When stress lingers for too long, healing begins to falter. The body floods itself with cortisol, a hormone designed to prepare you for danger rather than recovery. Blood flow shifts toward muscles instead of skin and digestion, leaving wounds and internal organs waiting longer for nutrients. Inflammation becomes confused, rising when it should fade. Even the immune cells responsible for sealing injuries begin to lose their precision. Chronic stress also disrupts the body's internal timing, interfering with the daily rhythm of hormone release that normally guides cellular repair. This change does not happen suddenly. It unfolds through small delays, like a melody played slightly out of tempo. Fortunately, the opposite is also true. Calmness restores balance. Deep breathing, laughter, quiet rest, and emotional safety reset the body's signals, allowing the chemistry of repair to begin again. Beneath every stressful day lies the possibility of renewal, waiting only for the body to feel safe enough to return to its natural rhythm. Laughter can change the hormones that support healing. When you laugh, the body becomes a small orchestra of restoration. Muscles release tension. The diaphragm gently massages the internal organs. The heart rate rises briefly before settling into a calmer rhythm. At the same time, the brain releases endorphins, natural chemicals that reduce pain and promote a sense of well-being. Immune cells respond as well, increasing both in number and activity. Blood vessels widen, improving circulation throughout the body. The sound of laughter may seem light, but its effects run surprisingly deep, influencing chemistry, emotion, and energy all at once. Even short moments of laughter can reduce stress hormones that delay recovery. The body treats joy almost like medicine, and humor as a spark of renewal. When laughter is shared between people, the effect grows stronger. Heartbeats and breathing rhythms begin to synchronize. For a moment, healing becomes both social and biological at the same time. Tears contain enzymes that help protect the body from infection. Every tear that falls is more than just salt and water. Within it flows lysozyme, an enzyme capable of breaking down the protective walls of certain bacteria. This natural defense coats the eyes, keeping them clean and protected from the constant exposure of the outside world. Emotional tears are also different from the tears produced by irritation. They contain traces of stress hormones, allowing the body to release chemical tension through the act of crying. As tears move down the cheeks, they carry both emotion and chemistry away from the body, creating a subtle sense of relief. Crying is often seen as a sign of weakness, but biologically, it is a precise mechanism of self-regulation. The body uses it to cleanse, rebalance, and protect. Even something as delicate as a single teardrop reveals an important truth about biology. Emotion and immunity are closely intertwined. Healing sometimes begins at the moment when we allow something to be released. Your gut lining replaces itself every few days. The digestive tract is lined with cells that live brief but intense lives. Surrounded by acid, enzymes, and countless microbes, they exist in one of the harshest environments in the body. To survive this constant challenge, the lining renews itself every few days. This creates a fresh surface capable of absorbing nutrients while keeping harmful invaders out. Stem cells, located at the base of each microscopic fold, divide rapidly, sending new cells upward to replace those that have finished their work. As older cells gently shed away, the gut remains intact, continuous, and resilient. This constant rebuilding protects not only digestion, but also the immune system, since much of the body's defense network lives within the gut. When balance is disrupted, fatigue and inflammation can appear. Yet even then, the gut begins repairing itself almost immediately. In its endless cycle of renewal, the digestive system demonstrates one of the purest expressions of life's determination to keep rebuilding. The heart can regrow a small amount of its own tissue. For centuries, scientists believed the heart was an organ incapable of renewal. Yet, hidden within its muscle lie small populations of cells capable of limited regeneration. When damage occurs, these specialized cells awaken. They divide and differentiate, gradually replacing some of the lost tissue. The process is slow and incomplete, but it reveals a remarkable potential. Even adult hearts can grow new blood vessels after injury, creating subtle detours that help maintain circulation. Exercise, rest, and emotional calm support this regeneration by improving oxygen flow and reducing inflammation. The heart's rhythm, its endless pulse, is not only a symbol of persistence, it is also a signal of ongoing creation. Every beat sends chemical messages that encourage repair throughout the cardiovascular system. The organ that never sleeps does more than keep you alive. It constantly attempts to heal itself. New blood vessels grow like roots within healing tissue. When tissue becomes injured, surrounding cells send urgent signals requesting oxygen and nutrients. Nearby blood vessels respond by releasing chemical cues that activate endothelial cells. These cells begin migrating outward, forming delicate tubes that extend into the damaged area like tiny roots growing through soil. This process is known as angiogenesis. Through it, a wounded patch of tissue gradually becomes threaded with new circulation. Once the new vessels connect, oxygen begins flowing again. The entire landscape of healing changes. A pale wound slowly turns pink as life returns beneath the surface. Over time, these vessels mature into stable channels that continue nourishing the regenerated tissue. Hidden beneath every healed wound lies a small forest of capillaries that once reached toward life. Platelets are the bloodstream's first responders. The moment skin is broken, an invisible alarm begins. Platelets, tiny fragments drifting quietly through the bloodstream, detect the change in pressure and chemical signals. They rush toward the injury and stick together, forming a temporary seal that stops the bleeding. But their role extends far beyond plugging the wound. Platelets release powerful growth factors that attract immune cells, stimulate collagen production, and encourage the formation of new blood vessels. In this way, they act as both protectors and messengers. Their timing is extraordinary. Within seconds of injury, they arrive and begin orchestrating the early stages of repair. Even after the wound closes, traces of their chemical instructions remain embedded within the healed tissue. In the grand orchestra of healing, platelets play the opening note, setting the rhythm that all other cells follow. Scars are collagen's way of patching the past. When the body cannot perfectly restore the original tissue, it improvises. Fibroblasts rush to the wound and begin laying down dense strands of collagen, forming a strong mesh that seals the opening quickly. This new structure is tougher but less flexible than the skin that once existed there. It no longer contains sweat glands, hair follicles, or the subtle textures of untouched tissue. Yet its purpose is protection. Over time, the collagen slowly reorganizes itself. Fibers soften and gradually align with the natural lines of the body. Some scars fade until they are barely visible, while others remain as quiet signatures of survival. Each scar represents a compromise between speed and precision, between preserving life and restoring beauty. Scars are stories written in tissue. They remind the body of what it endured and, more importantly, what it overcame. Beneath every mark lies the memory of the moment when the body refused to surrender. Some people's skin can heal without leaving scars at all. Rare individuals display a remarkable phenomenon known as scarless healing. Their wounds regenerate with a precision more commonly seen during early development than in adulthood. This process involves balanced inflammation, rapid collagen remodeling, and perfectly coordinated cell migration. Scientists study these rare cases carefully, hoping to understand how ordinary healing might one day follow the same path. Interestingly, newborns often possess this ability naturally. As humans age, the capacity gradually fades. Yet researchers are beginning to discover ways to reactivate similar mechanisms through subtle control of growth factors and electrical signals. Scarless healing could someday restore not only appearance, but also full function after major injuries. For now, it remains a glimpse of the body's deeper potential. Every seamless wound closure whispers of an older blueprint hidden within us, a memory of when regeneration was effortless and healing left no trace. Deep breathing can alter genes linked to stress and repair. Slow, deliberate breathing does far more than calm the mind. It sends waves of mechanical and chemical signals throughout the body, shifting the balance of the nervous system. Heart rate slows, blood vessels widen, stress hormones begin to decline. Inside the cells themselves, genes associated with inflammation and oxidative stress become quieter. At the same time, genes related to repair and energy metabolism become more active. Oxygen levels rise, improving the efficiency of mitochondria, the tiny power plants that fuel every act of recovery. Over time, this simple rhythm of inhalation and exhalation gradually rewires the body's chemistry toward healing. Ancient practices such as meditation and yoga discovered this principle long before modern science measured it. Each breath becomes both messenger and medicine. With every slow expansion of the lungs, your cells receive signals that guide them back toward balance. The brain can rewire itself after injury. Neurons communicate through intricate networks, yet those networks are not fixed. When damage occurs, nearby cells often form new connections to take over lost functions. This ability is known as neuroplasticity. Through it, the brain adapts and reorganizes itself in order to preserve movement, memory, or emotion. Even after serious trauma, the structure of the brain remains surprisingly fluid. Activity and repetition guide this process. Therapy, learning, and sensory experiences strengthen the formation of new neural pathways. It is almost as if the brain redraws its own map whenever the landscape changes. This transformation may take months or even years, but it continues throughout life. Each time you learn a skill or overcome a mental challenge, neuroplasticity is at work. Healing in the brain is not about replacing what was lost. It is about finding new paths for life to flow through. Within this quiet adaptability lies one of biology's most hopeful truths. Memories themselves can change through emotional healing. Memories are not stored like photographs. They are reconstructed each time they are recalled. When new emotions or insights emerge, the memory can shift as well. Therapy, reflection, and meaningful experiences can soften the impact of painful recollections. They reshape the chemical patterns in the brain that hold those memories in place. This process does not erase the past. Instead, it reframes it. Regions such as the amygdala, hippocampus, and prefrontal cortex work together to update old stories with new understanding. In this way, emotional healing becomes physical. Neural connections change. Stress signals that once echoed through the body grow quieter. It becomes possible to remember without reliving, to hold the past without being held by it. Healing is not forgetting. It is transformation. Each time the brain revisits a painful memory with compassion, it rebuilds itself in a gentler form. Hope can shift hormone levels toward regeneration. Belief in recovery changes the chemistry of the body. Hope influences the release of dopamine, serotonin, and endorphins, chemicals that support immune balance and cellular repair. When you anticipate improvement, the nervous system relaxes. circulation improves. Inflammation begins to subside. Scientists have observed that patients who maintain strong hope often recover more quickly. This is not magic. It is measurable physiology. Hope quiets fear, and fear is one of the greatest obstacles to healing. Hope reminds the body that effort is worthwhile. It signals that energy should move toward rebuilding rather than retreat. Even the smallest spark of expectation can trigger a cascade of biological change. The body listens closely to what the mind believes. Optimism becomes chemistry. In its most scientific sense, hope is a biological signal encouraging life to continue moving forward. Meditation can accelerate recovery after stress. When the mind rests in stillness, the body follows. Heart rate slows. Breathing deepens. Waves of calm move through the nervous system. Beneath the surface, measurable biological shifts occur. Genes linked to inflammation become less active. Antioxidant and repair pathways become more engaged. Cortisol, the body's stress hormone, falls to levels that allow regeneration to proceed freely. Regular meditation improves sleep and strengthens immune function. It gives the body more time and resources to repair itself. With consistent practice, this calm baseline becomes stronger. What feels like quiet awareness is actually a profound physiological reset. Brain rhythms entrain body rhythms. Heart, breath, and cells gradually move in harmony. Within that stillness, the body rediscovers its natural tempo, the pace at which true healing unfolds. Gratitude can influence the electrical rhythms of the heart. The heart does far more than simply pump blood. It communicates with the body through subtle electrical and magnetic fields that shift depending on emotional states. When gratitude arises, the rhythm of the heart becomes smoother and more coherent. Its pattern begins to synchronize with breathing and even with the brain's activity. This state improves circulation and reduces the release of stress hormones, allowing the immune system to function more efficiently. Studies show that people who practice daily gratitude often display lower levels of inflammation and recover more easily from illness or injury. The feeling itself activates the parasympathetic nervous system, the branch responsible for rest and restoration. Gratitude gently shifts attention away from what is missing and toward what is present. In doing so, it creates a biological environment where growth and healing can unfold. Even quiet appreciation for a single moment can alter the body's internal atmosphere. The heart listens to thoughts as carefully as it listens to blood flow. And when peace is recognized, its rhythm changes. Compassion can lower the body's baseline levels of cortisol. Cortisol is the hormone of alertness and stress. In moderate amounts, it prepares the body for challenge. But when levels remain high for long periods, it can become harmful. Acts of compassion, whether given or received, have been shown to reduce cortisol levels and promote healing. When empathy is felt, the brain releases oxytocin, a hormone that counteracts fear and tension. Blood pressure begins to fall. Digestion improves. The immune system becomes more responsive. Compassion creates a physiological shift toward safety. It signals to the body that it can return to maintenance and repair rather than defense. Even imagining kindness can produce measurable biological changes. Heart rate slows. Feelings of warmth increase. Healing is rarely a solitary process. Often, it begins in the simple recognition of shared humanity. Through compassion, chemistry becomes connection, and the biology of care transforms into the science of recovery. The placebo effect is real chemistry triggered by belief. When someone believes that healing has begun, the brain releases natural opioids, endorphins, and dopamine. These substances reduce pain, regulate mood, and influence immune function. The effect is not imaginary. It can be measured in laboratories and observed in brain scans. The placebo response activates many of the same pathways used by actual medications. Belief itself becomes a signal. It tells the nervous system that recovery is underway. Organs align with this message. Cells begin behaving differently. Imaging studies reveal that brain regions associated with pain and stress become quieter when belief is present. This discovery reveals something profound about human nature. Healing begins with perception. When the mind envisions wellness, the body attempts to bring that vision into reality. Pain can sometimes lessen when someone simply listens. Pain is not purely physical. It is shaped by attention, emotion, and context. When someone listens with empathy, the nervous system begins to relax. The intensity of discomfort can decrease. Studies show that being heard reduces activity in brain regions linked to suffering. The listener becomes part of the healing process. Their presence creates a space where tension dissolves and the body feels safe enough to release its guard. Communication itself triggers the release of oxytocin, which softens the stress response and encourages recovery. This is why compassionate care often improves medical outcomes, even without additional treatment. Human connection changes physiology. Compassion becomes measurable chemistry. Healing sometimes begins not with medicine or movement, but with presence. The sound of another heartbeat, patient and kind, reminds the body that it is not alone in its effort to mend. The immune system remembers every battle it has fought. Each infection you survive leaves behind specialized cells that remember the invading organism. If the same threat appears again, these memory cells respond immediately. They produce antibodies before symptoms can even begin. This biological memory can last for years, sometimes for an entire lifetime. It is the principle behind vaccines. It is also the reason many childhood illnesses rarely return. Memory cells quietly patrol the bloodstream and lymphatic system. They remain watchful but unobtrusive. Together, they form a living archive of your encounters with the world, an internal library written in proteins and patterns. The immune system does not forget easily. It grows wiser with every challenge. Each recovery strengthens the body's resilience for the next one. Beneath the surface, your body carefully preserves the story of its victories. Fever is a cleansing fire within the body. When infection strikes, the body intentionally raises its temperature. This rise is not accidental. It is a deliberate act of defense. Higher temperatures accelerate immune reactions, stimulate the production of white blood cells, and weaken microbes that prefer cooler environments. At the same time, special proteins guide immune cells toward the sites where they are most needed. The warmth and fatigue you feel during a fever are signs that energy is being directed toward battle. As the temperature peaks, toxins are neutralized, and damaged cells are broken down and recycled. Once the threat has passed, the brain lowers the body's thermostat again. Though uncomfortable, fever is often a powerful cleansing mechanism. Within that internal fire, the body restores balance and protects itself. White blood cells may communicate through faint flashes of light. Inside the bloodstream, immune cells move like explorers through a vast terrain. They locate each other using chemical signals. But scientists have also observed something remarkable. These cells can emit tiny flashes of light known as biophotons. These faint pulses appear to carry information about activity, stress, and coordination. It is almost as if the immune system speaks partly through light. Researchers have recorded these signals during immune responses. This suggests that light may represent another layer of biological communication. Every cell in the body emits some level of biophoton activity, but immune cells appear especially active in this luminous exchange. Through this subtle conversation, the body maintains coordination even during the chaos of infection. The discovery reminds us that life is not only matter, it is also energy. And sometimes healing is guided by signals we cannot see. The brain releases endorphins during healing sleep. As you drift into deeper stages of rest, the brain begins a phase of intense internal maintenance. Endorphins, the body's natural pain-relieving molecules, are released, easing tension and repairing stress pathways that accumulated during the day. These chemicals bind to receptors that quiet signals of discomfort, allowing the nervous system to shift its attention toward recovery. While the mind moves through dreams, tissues across the body receive instructions to rebuild proteins, strengthen membranes, and balance immune activity. The chemistry of sleep is far from passive. In many ways, it is the most active form of healing the body performs each day. Endorphins do more than reduce pain. They also regulate mood, heart rhythm, and energy balance. As your body sinks into stillness, this internal medicine flows freely, guiding every system back toward equilibrium. The comfort you feel after a full night of rest is not coincidence. It is evidence of the body's ongoing conversation with restoration. Cells whisper to each other through electromagnetic fields. Every living cell carries a small electrical charge and emits a faint electromagnetic field around itself. These signals are not random. They guide development, communication, and repair. When tissue becomes injured, surrounding cells subtly alter their electrical fields. These changes act like an invisible map that attracts immune cells and repair cells toward the damaged area. This form of electrical communication often begins even before chemical signals arrive. Scientists have discovered that adjusting these tiny fields can accelerate or slow healing. This finding reveals how deeply energy and biology are intertwined. Inside your body, trillions of cells constantly adjust their signals, maintaining harmony within the living community they form. It is a quiet network of electricity and light, organized with remarkable precision. Healing often begins with these subtle exchanges of energy long before physical repair becomes visible. Your heart produces a magnetic field that extends beyond the body. Each heartbeat generates an electromagnetic pulse. This pulse is strong enough to be detected several feet away from the chest using sensitive instruments. The heart's magnetic field is not confined to the body. it expands outward into the surrounding space. Researchers have observed that this field changes with emotional states such as calmness, stress, and compassion. The heart's rhythm also synchronizes with the brain, influencing mood, perception, and focus. When a person is calm, the heart's electrical patterns become smooth and coherent. When anxiety rises, the pattern becomes irregular. Interestingly, these subtle signals can influence nearby people. Studies suggest that heart rhythms between individuals can synchronize during moments of deep connection. The heart is not simply a mechanical pump. It acts as a conductor in the body's orchestra of signals. Through its rhythm, it broadcasts information throughout the nervous system and beyond. Wounds heal faster when the body's internal clock is aligned. Your circadian rhythm governs nearly every process in the body. This internal clock regulates sleep, metabolism, hormone release, and even the speed of tissue repair. Cells responsible for healing follow daily cycles. They perform their work most efficiently when sleep, meals, and activity occur in harmony with natural patterns of light and darkness. During nighttime, the body produces increased levels of growth hormone and melatonin. Both are essential for cellular renewal. During daylight, cortisol rises, supporting alertness, immune surveillance, and circulation. When these rhythms are disrupted by irregular sleep or chronic stress, healing can slow. Aligning daily habits with the natural rhythm of the sun helps restore balance. Morning light, consistent rest, and regular nourishment remind the body when to repair and when to act. Healing is not only chemistry, it is also timing. Blue light can help treat certain skin conditions. Not all forms of light harm the body. Specific wavelengths of blue light are used to treat acne, eczema, and other skin conditions. These wavelengths target bacteria that contribute to inflammation. At the same time, they calm overactive immune responses in the skin. The light penetrates the surface gently and activates molecules that disrupt harmful microbes without damaging surrounding tissue. Doctors carefully control these treatments so that the beneficial effects are preserved while avoiding harm. Blue light therapy mimics certain frequencies present in natural daylight. It reminds us that the energy of light can both harm and heal depending on how it is used. When the correct wavelength meets the right biological target, light becomes a powerful partner in recovery. Red light can stimulate collagen production and tissue repair. Certain wavelengths of red light penetrate deeper into the skin and underlying tissues. There, they interact with mitochondria, the tiny power plants within cells. This stimulation increases the production of ATP, the molecule that fuels nearly every cellular process. When tissue becomes damaged, cells require additional energy to rebuild. Red light therapy provides that boost. Fibroblasts begin producing more collagen. Blood vessels grow more readily. Inflammation decreases. Athletes use red light to speed muscle recovery. Doctors use it to help wounds heal faster. The gentle glow does not burn or injure tissue. Instead, it nourishes cellular activity. Each cell absorbs the energy and converts it into movement, repair, and resilience. Within that soft radiance, the body remembers how energy and healing are deeply connected. Stem cells wait in the body like seeds beneath the soil. Throughout the body lie countless stem cells resting quietly in bone marrow, skin, muscles, and organs. They remain dormant until they receive signals of damage or disease. When that signal arrives, they awaken, they divide. They transform into the exact types of cells required for repair. Unlike most cells, stem cells carry no fixed identity. Instead, they contain pure potential. They represent a biological memory of possibility. Although their activity slows with age, they never disappear completely. Even later in life, they can respond to injury, quietly renewing tissues where restoration is possible. Scientists study stem cells intensely, hoping to unlock their full regenerative capacity. Their existence reveals something deeply hopeful about the body. Even when damage occurs, reserves of possibility remain. Healing often begins not from outside intervention, but from the silent readiness already present within us. Old cells can sometimes be reprogrammed back toward youth. In laboratories around the world, scientists have discovered ways to rewind a cell's biological clock. By introducing specific regulatory proteins, mature adult cells can return to a stem-like state capable of dividing and renewing almost endlessly. These are known as induced pluripotent stem cells. The discovery revealed that the blueprint of youth is not completely lost with age. Instead, it remains hidden within the cell's genetic instructions. Even without laboratory intervention, the body performs smaller versions of this renewal every day. Damaged components are cleared away. New molecules are assembled. Fresh cells replace those that have worn out. This understanding challenges the old belief that aging moves only in one direction. Within every cell lives the memory of optimal function, a pattern that can sometimes be reawakened. This research holds enormous promise for future medicine. One day, it may allow damaged tissues to regenerate from within. But even now, it reminds us of something remarkable. Life's story is rarely linear. It is circular, always moving toward renewal. Exercise signals the body to activate regenerative pathways. Movement is one of the oldest medicines known to biology. When muscles contract, they release chemical messengers called myokines. These molecules travel through the bloodstream, sending signals to distant organs. They encourage cells to repair, rejuvenate, and grow stronger. Exercise also improves circulation, delivering oxygen and nutrients to tissues that require rebuilding. At the same time, it stimulates the production of stem cells in bone marrow. These new cells can then travel to areas where repair is needed. Inflammation decreases. Hormones move toward balance. Even gentle activity, walking, stretching, slow movement, can activate these processes. The body interprets movement as a signal of vitality. In response, it shifts toward renewal. The mild soreness that sometimes follows exercise is not damage. It is communication. It tells the body that adaptation is underway. Through this elegant feedback system, motion becomes restoration. Each movement reminds your cells of their purpose, and through that rhythm, healing continues. The microbiome in your gut influences healing throughout the body. Inside the digestive system lives a vast ecosystem of microorganisms. Bacteria, fungi, and viruses coexist in a complex community known as the microbiome. Though tiny, These organisms influence health far beyond digestion. They train the immune system. They regulate inflammation. They even influence how quickly wounds heal on the skin. When gut bacteria are balanced, they produce short-chain fatty acids and other compounds that travel through the bloodstream. These molecules calm immune responses and support repair in distant tissues. But when the microbiome becomes disrupted, inflammation may increase throughout the body. Wounds may heal more slowly. Energy levels can decline. Restoring microbial balance through fiber-rich foods, fermented foods, and proper rest brings harmony back to the system. The gut and the skin remain in constant dialogue through nerves, hormones, and chemistry. Healing rarely occurs in isolation. The body functions as an integrated whole. Balance inside often becomes visible on the outside. Some bacteria help teach the immune system how to remain calm. Not all microbes are enemies. Many of them act as instructors for the immune system. Certain beneficial bacteria interact with immune cells called dendritic cells and T cells. Through these interactions, they teach immune defenses how to distinguish between true threats and harmless substances. Without these microbial lessons, the immune system can become confused. It may attack harmless particles or even the body's own tissues. Modern lifestyles sometimes reduce our exposure to beneficial microbes. This may explain the rise in allergies and autoimmune conditions. Reconnecting with natural environments and diverse diets helps reintroduce these microbial teachers. Within your body, harmony depends on conversation. The bacteria that live alongside you are not passengers. They are collaborators. Together, they guide the immune system toward balance rather than constant battle. Inflammation is both destruction and the beginning of repair. When tissue is damaged, inflammation arrives immediately. It appears as redness, warmth, swelling, and pain. Yet these signs are not simply damage. They are preparation. Blood vessels widen, allowing immune cells to flood the area. These cells clear debris, remove pathogens, and prepare the environment for rebuilding. The process feels intense because it must act quickly. Once the threat disappears, anti-inflammatory signals begin to calm the reaction. Repair cells arrive. New tissue forms. The same biological fire that breaks down damaged structures also awakens the systems that rebuild them. Problems arise only when inflammation remains active for too long. Chronic inflammation consumes energy and interferes with renewal. True healing requires balance, a moment when destruction steps aside and creation begins. Your blood chemistry changes during emotional stress. Emotions are not confined to the mind. They create measurable changes throughout the body. When fear or anger arises, adrenaline and cortisol enter the bloodstream. Blood vessels tighten. Heart rate increases. Immune cells shift toward defense. If this state persists, it can become exhausting. Resources that would normally support healing are redirected toward vigilance. Positive emotions create the opposite response. Blood vessels relax. Circulation improves. Growth factors increase. Inflammatory signals decrease. Every emotion leaves a chemical signature in the bloodstream. These signals influence how quickly the body repairs itself. The connection between emotion and physiology is not metaphor. It is measurable biology. The brain and heart communicate constantly, adjusting chemistry according to experience. Healing, therefore, begins not only with medicine, but with the state of the mind. Electrical currents guide healing through damaged tissues. Every living cell maintains a tiny electrical voltage across its membrane. This voltage helps control movement, growth, and communication. When tissue becomes injured, these electrical patterns change. The surrounding voltage shifts, creating a signal that directs repair cells toward the wound. Fibroblasts, keratinocytes, and immune cells follow these electrical cues like metal filings drawn toward a magnet. Scientists have measured these fields and even replicated them in medical treatments to accelerate healing. Electricity is not separate from biology. It is one of its oldest tools. Long before modern medicine existed, life learned to guide itself through charge and polarity. These microscopic electrical currents act like compasses. They orient cells and organize repair until balance is restored. Beneath the visible layers of healing, invisible forces quietly restore order. Your body produces natural antioxidants after injury. When tissue becomes damaged, unstable molecules known as free radicals begin to accumulate. These molecules can harm nearby cells if they remain uncontrolled. To protect itself, the body produces powerful antioxidants such as glutathione, catalase, and superoxide dismutase. These substances neutralize free radicals and prevent further damage. At the same time, they create a stable environment in which rebuilding can occur. This protective chemistry is highly adaptive. The body increases antioxidant production exactly where it is needed most. Proper nutrition, rest, and emotional calm support this natural defense system. Yet the body itself remains the first line of protection. Antioxidants not only shield cells, they also trigger signals that encourage repair. Through this quiet chemistry, instability is transformed into balance. Energy that might have been spent fighting damage is redirected toward growth. Healing is therefore not only about rebuilding tissue, it is also about managing energy wisely. Chronic pain can sometimes be retrained out of the nervous system. When pain continues long after an injury has healed, the cause often lies within the nervous system rather than the original tissue. Neural pathways that once signaled danger may continue firing even when no threat remains. This learned pain can gradually be softened through therapy, movement, and focused awareness. Techniques that retrain the nervous system help the brain reinterpret signals. Over time, new neural pathways form. The alarm grows quieter. This process reflects the remarkable adaptability of the nervous system. The journey is gradual, but it can be deeply empowering. The body learns that safety has returned, and slowly, the persistent signals of pain fade. The human voice can influence heart rhythm. Speaking, humming, or singing changes the pattern of breathing and vibration within the body. These vibrations stimulate the vagus nerve, a crucial pathway connecting the brain to the heart and internal organs. When the voice moves in gentle, rhythmic patterns, heart rate variability increases. This variability reflects the body's ability to adapt to stress and return to calm. Soft vocal sounds can slow breathing and stabilize the nervous system. Even listening to soothing voices or tones can produce similar effects. The voice becomes a bridge between emotion and physiology. Through vibration and sound, the body gradually moves toward balance. Every tone carries information, and within that vibration, the heart often remembers safety. Singing together can synchronize breathing and heart rhythms. When people sing together, something remarkable happens. Their breathing begins to align. Gradually, their heart rhythms begin to synchronize as well. This phenomenon is known as physiological synchronization. Shared rhythm lowers stress responses and increases the release of oxytocin. The body interprets this harmony as safety. Choirs and communal chanting traditions have used this effect for centuries, often without understanding the science behind it. Modern research now confirms what many cultures long sensed intuitively. Sound can merge individual rhythms into a shared state of calm. Blood pressure lowers. Breathing deepens. The nervous system quiets. In a shared song, healing becomes collective. The vagus nerve connects emotion with immune response. The vagus nerve travels from the brainstem down through the heart, lungs, and digestive organs. It forms one of the most powerful communication pathways in the body. Through this nerve, emotional states influence digestion, inflammation, and immune activity. When calmness arises, the vagus nerve activates the parasympathetic nervous system. Heart rate slows. Inflammation fades. Repair processes begin. Simple practices such as deep breathing, humming, or slow exhalation stimulate this nerve. These signals travel through every organ it touches. Compassion, connection, and emotional warmth also activate this pathway. The vagus nerve acts as a bridge between thought and tissue, between emotion and immunity. It reveals that healing is not only biological, it is deeply emotional as well. Chronic loneliness can suppress healing. Isolation affects more than mood. It changes body chemistry. Without regular social connection, the nervous system remains slightly alert, as if scanning for danger. Stress hormones rise. Blood pressure increases. Immune cells shift toward defensive behavior rather than repair. Inflammation can increase even without injury. Sleep rhythms become disrupted. The absence of touch and shared laughter reduces levels of oxytocin and serotonin. Both of these molecules are essential for healing. Even brief moments of connection can reverse this pattern. The sound of a kind voice or the presence of another person signals safety to the brain. From that reassurance, healing can begin again. The human body is designed for relationship. Within companionship, biology remembers how to rest and rebuild. Love strengthens the immune system. The chemistry of affection can be measured. Acts of love release oxytocin, a hormone that reduces stress and supports immune activity. When people feel cared for, antibody levels often increase. Inflammation decreases. Recovery times may shorten. Love also slows the heartbeat and steadies breathing. Even remembering someone with warmth can change physiology. Supportive relationships often improve medical outcomes. Love is not only an emotion, it is energy shared between nervous systems. It creates conditions inside the body where healing can flourish. The gentle pulse of affection travels through the bloodstream, carrying signals of safety to every organ. Touch reduces stress hormones. Human touch carries one of the oldest healing signals in biology. When skin meets skin in a context of trust, oxytocin rises and cortisol falls. Blood pressure decreases. Heart rate slows. The body interprets contact as safety. This response explains why hand-holding, hugs, and massage therapy can ease anxiety and reduce pain. Even touching a pet can produce similar effects. The skin contains millions of receptors sensitive to pressure, warmth, and texture. Each signal travels quickly to the brain, and from there, throughout the entire nervous system. Through touch, the body remembers that it is not alone, and in that remembrance, healing begins. Infants heal faster when they are held close. Newborns thrive through closeness and physical contact. Skin-to-skin connection stabilizes their heart rate, breathing, and body temperature, while also lowering levels of stress hormones. Babies who are held gently tend to recover from illness more quickly and gain weight more steadily. The warmth and rhythm of another heartbeat help their nervous systems learn how to regulate themselves. Even premature infants show remarkable improvement when they are regularly touched or cradled. This intimate contact shapes the foundation of health throughout life. It teaches the body that safety encourages healing. The chemistry of touch releases oxytocin and endorphins, promoting calm and resilience. Hospitals around the world now use a method called kangaroo care, where newborns rest directly on a parent's chest. There they absorb warmth, rhythm, and reassurance. The effect is both emotional and biological, proof that love is not abstract but cellular. The body's first lessons in healing often begin in the comfort of another heartbeat. Empathy activates brain regions associated with pain relief. When you feel compassion for someone who is suffering, your brain responds in measurable ways. It releases endorphins and activates neural pathways that mirror those involved in reducing pain. This shared response creates not only understanding, but genuine comfort. Empathy stimulates the release of oxytocin. It softens the stress response and activates areas of the prefrontal cortex that calm the nervous system. When you offer empathy, both people benefit. It becomes a biological feedback loop of kindness. Neuroscience shows that compassion is deeply physical. Emotion influences immunity, hormone balance, and neural activity. The warmth of shared understanding lights circuits in the brain that once seemed purely cognitive. Compassion is not only a moral value, it is measurable science demonstrating how deeply human biology responds to care. Oxytocin supports both bonding and physical repair. Often called the love hormone, oxytocin influences far more than emotional attachment. It circulates through the bloodstream, calming the nervous system and reducing inflammation. It also supports the growth of new tissue. Oxytocin encourages the formation of blood vessels and stimulates collagen production, helping wounds close more efficiently. It regulates immune activity, preventing excessive inflammatory reactions. Touch, laughter, trust, and shared experiences all trigger its release. When relationships feel secure, oxytocin flows freely. It gently guides the body toward rest and renewal. Scientists believe this molecule may be one of the oldest chemical links between connection and survival. It reminds the body that safety allows healing. The body knows how to stop inflammation once repair is complete. Inflammation is necessary for healing, but it must end once the job is finished. The body contains specialized systems that recognize when danger has passed. At that moment, it releases molecules known as resolvins. These compounds clear away excess immune cells and calm blood vessels. They restore normal circulation and prevent unnecessary damage to healthy tissue. Without this resolution phase, inflammation could continue indefinitely. Healing depends not only on activating repair, but also on knowing when to stop fighting. The body's wisdom lies in this balance: action followed by quiet, effort followed by restoration. Pain teaches the brain how to protect the body. Pain is not merely an unpleasant sensation, it is information. When injury occurs, nerve endings send electrical messages to the brain, alerting it that protection is needed. The brain responds by adjusting movement, posture, and awareness. Over time, these adjustments become new patterns of behavior that prevent further harm. Once healing is complete, pain usually fades. Its lesson has been absorbed. Sometimes the signal lingers longer than necessary. In those cases, the brain can be gently retrained through mindful movement and therapy. Pain then transforms from suffering into guidance. It becomes part of the body's learning process. Some individuals can learn to influence their immune systems through specialized breathing techniques and controlled cold exposure. Certain people have demonstrated the ability to influence immune responses once believed to be automatic. By remaining calm during physical stress, they trigger changes in adrenaline and cortisol levels. These changes reshape inflammation. Scientific studies have measured reduced cytokine release and faster recovery from illness in trained individuals. This ability is not mystical. It depends on neural pathways linking the brain to the immune system. Even simple breathing practices can influence circulation, oxygen levels, and immune balance. These discoveries reveal that consciousness can interact with physiology more deeply than previously believed. Healing becomes a dialogue between awareness and biology. Cold exposure can activate cellular cleanup processes. When the body experiences cold temperatures, it triggers protective programs that strengthen resilience. One of these programs is autophagy. During autophagy, cells break down damaged components and recycle them into new energy. Cold exposure also increases norepinephrine levels, sharpening focus and reducing inflammation. Blood vessels first constrict to conserve heat. Later, they reopen, improving circulation when the body warms again. With regular exposure, mitochondria grow stronger and immune function improves. The body interprets cold as a signal to renew itself. A brief, controlled discomfort awakens ancient systems of adaptation. Fasting can stimulate cellular recycling. Periods without food trigger a shift in cellular priorities. Instead of focusing on growth and storage, cells begin repairing themselves. Through autophagy, they dismantle damaged proteins and malfunctioning cellular structures. These materials are then recycled into energy and new components. The process reduces inflammation and supports metabolic balance. Fasting is not merely deprivation. It is a redirection of energy toward internal maintenance. Hormones, such as insulin, decrease while growth hormone rises. Ancient traditions recognized these rhythms long before modern science explained them. Sometimes healing requires not adding more, but allowing the body time to clear what no longer serves it. The body's repair systems operate in rhythmic waves. Inside every organ, healing follows cycles of activation and rest. Genes responsible for repair switch on and off throughout the day. guided by the circadian rhythm. During periods of rest, energy is directed toward rebuilding tissues and clearing cellular waste. During waking hours, the body focuses more on defense and daily function. Even at the microscopic level, repair does not occur in a steady stream. It happens in pulses. Enzymes, hormones, and immune cells move in carefully timed bursts. When sleep is irregular or daily habits fall out of rhythm, this natural timing becomes disrupted. Recovery slows. Restoring consistent cycles allows the body to rediscover its natural pace. Each wave of repair builds upon the previous one, slowly reshaping the body like tides shaping a shoreline. Healing is rarely linear. It is cyclical, a continual movement between effort and rest. Each organ follows its own schedule of renewal. Every system within the body keeps time. The liver performs much of its detoxification work during the night. Muscles rebuild during deep sleep. The brain clears away metabolic waste in the early morning hours. The skin repairs damage most efficiently in darkness. These processes are guided by cellular clocks inside each tissue. They anticipate the rhythms of day and night rather than simply reacting to them. Artificial light, irregular sleep, and constant stimulation can confuse this schedule. When rhythms fall out of sync, recovery slows. Aligning daily life with natural cycles helps restore balance. Regular sleep, consistent meals, and gentle exposure to morning light strengthen these biological clocks. Healing then becomes part of the body's natural dance with time. Gravity also influences healing. In the weightlessness of space, the body behaves very differently. Blood and other fluids drift upward. Immune cells move more slowly. Tissue repair becomes less organized. Without gravity's constant pull, cellular communication weakens and wounds close more slowly. Astronauts experience this phenomenon during long missions. These observations have helped scientists understand how mechanical forces guide healing. Gravity supports circulation and provides subtle tension that keeps cells properly oriented. On Earth, this constant force quietly assists regeneration. In space, its absence reveals how closely human biology is connected to planetary conditions. Even beyond Earth, the principles of healing remain tied to rhythm, movement, and balance. Astronauts sometimes use red light to support tissue recovery. In space, where wounds heal more slowly and stress levels increase, astronauts rely on red light therapy to aid recovery. The wavelengths stimulate mitochondria, increasing energy production inside cells affected by microgravity. This extra energy helps rebuild collagen, reduce inflammation, and repair muscle and bone tissue. The light also helps regulate circadian rhythms when natural sunrise and sunset are absent. Similar technology is used on Earth to treat burns, scars, and muscle injuries. Even far from the planet, healing remains connected to light and biological timing. The heart quietly renews itself throughout life. For many years, scientists believed the heart could never regenerate. But research has revealed that a small number of heart cells are replaced every year. This renewal continues slowly throughout life. Exercise, emotional balance, and healthy circulation support this process. The heart's rhythm therefore represents more than persistence. It represents quiet transformation. Each beat replaces tiny parts of itself while maintaining the same steady pulse. Even as the body ages, the heart remembers how to grow. The brain also contains immune cells that maintain its health. Specialized cells called microglia move constantly among neurons. When neurons become damaged or die, microglia remove the debris. This prevents inflammation and allows new neural connections to form. During sleep, these cells become especially active. They clear toxins and metabolic waste that accumulate during the day. This nightly cleansing supports learning, memory, and mental clarity. Without this maintenance, communication between neurons would gradually slow. The brain protects itself through this continuous quiet cleaning. Even forgetting certain memories may be part of this natural process. Microglia also help rebuild neural connections after injury. When trauma occurs, these cells release molecules that encourage neurons to grow new branches and form new synapses. Recovery may take weeks or months, but the brain's ability to adapt remains extraordinary. Learning, sensory stimulation, and gentle activity guide this rebuilding. Each new connection restores a small piece of the neural network. The brain demonstrates that healing is not a single event. It is an ongoing process of adaptation. Hormones coordinate healing across the body. The endocrine system acts like an orchestra conductor. Hormones such as growth hormone, insulin, cortisol, and thyroid hormones guide the timing and intensity of repair. Growth hormone stimulates cell division. Insulin delivers energy to tissues that need rebuilding. Thyroid hormones regulate metabolic speed. Cortisol prevents excessive inflammation. Each molecule travels through the bloodstream carrying instructions. Together, they ensure that healing occurs in harmony across all organs. Stress, exhaustion, and poor nutrition can disrupt this balance. Rest and nourishment restore the rhythm. Nutrition also plays a critical role in recovery. Vitamin C supports collagen production. Without it, skin, ligaments, and blood vessels cannot rebuild effectively. Zinc assists enzymes that copy DNA during cell division. Protein provides the raw materials for new tissues, antibodies, and enzymes. Iron helps red blood cells deliver oxygen to healing tissues. Even the smallest nutrients contribute to the vast orchestra of repair. Healing is therefore both biological intelligence and nourishment working together. The microbiome continues to guide immune balance. Friendly microbes living within the body train immune cells to respond calmly rather than aggressively. This education begins at birth and continues throughout life. A healthy microbiome reduces unnecessary inflammation and supports smoother recovery after illness or injury. Fermented foods and fiber nourish these microbial allies. Together, they help maintain balance in the body's internal ecosystem. The brain and immune system communicate constantly. Signals travel between them through hormones, neurotransmitters, and immune molecules. Emotions influence inflammation. Inflammation influences mood. This two-way communication forms a continuous feedback loop between mind and body. Positive emotions encourage repair. Chronic stress can delay it. Healing, therefore, depends not only on medicine, but also on emotional balance. Optimism can reduce inflammatory markers in the blood. People with hopeful outlooks often show lower levels of molecules linked to chronic inflammation. Hope influences the brain's regulation of stress hormones. It improves blood vessel flexibility and circulation. Even small shifts toward gratitude or appreciation can produce measurable biological changes. The body responds to expectation. Believing in recovery helps create the conditions in which recovery becomes possible. Laughter also improves circulation and immune function. The act of laughing fills the lungs with oxygen and stimulates the heart. Circulation increases. Stress hormones decrease. Natural killer cells become more active. These immune cells defend the body against infection. Even simulated laughter practiced intentionally, can trigger similar biological responses. The body responds to the motion itself. Through laughter, chemistry moves toward balance. Meditation supports healing through stillness. When the mind rests, the body's systems align. Heart rate slows, blood vessels relax. Brain activity shifts into calm, synchronized patterns. Inflammation decreases. Immune function improves. Regular meditation strengthens resilience against stress. Each quiet breath helps restore the body's internal harmony. Healing often begins in silence. Deep breathing reshapes the chemistry of stress. Slow breathing signals safety to the nervous system. Cortisol and adrenaline decline. Endorphins and serotonin rise. Blood pressure falls. Oxygen delivery improves. Within minutes, the body transitions from defense to repair. Breathing becomes one of the most accessible tools for biological healing. Each inhale invites renewal. Each exhale releases tension. Healing is the body's oldest language. Long before thought or speech existed, living cells possessed the ability to repair themselves. This instinct stretches back billions of years to the earliest forms of life. Healing transforms injury into adaptation. It converts experience into wisdom. Every scar, every recovery, every renewal speaks the same message. Continue. As this quiet journey comes to an end, allow yourself to rest in the simple truth that healing is never a single moment. It is a rhythm. Even now, as you lie still, your body continues its silent work. Cells rebuild. Nerves reconnect. Chemistry shifts gently toward balance. Healing rarely announces itself loudly. It is found in the quiet moments when breath deepens and the mind softens. Your body knows what to do. It has never forgotten. Even in fatigue, even in pain, the will to mend remains steady, ancient, and patient. So allow your thoughts to drift like slow clouds. Let your breathing lengthen. Feel the air move in and out, effortless and alive. That movement is life continuing its promise. Healing has been with you since the very beginning, written into every cell, carried in every drop of blood. It asks only that you rest, that you listen, that you allow yourself to be held by the quiet rhythm of life. If you enjoyed this calm journey, feel free to like the video, subscribe, or share a thought below. It helps other quiet minds find their way here, one sleepy soul at a time. For now, close your eyes. Let the noise of the waking world fade away. Allow stillness to settle over you like a soft blanket. Feel your body returning to its natural rhythm, calm, balanced, whole. Sleep well, and good night.